Hey guys, welcome to my channel. It is your girl Jo. Welcome back to my return viewers. I love you, shout you out. If you're new here, please subscribe. I do all kinds of videos. I don't really have a niche. I just do things that come to mind. Today's video is going to be about plants. As you can see, I have quite a few new plants. If you haven't already subscribed, please do subscribe. But also, if you haven't already, watch my last video on my plants and their names and my plant babies and how we got here, because this is basically like a part 2. So these are all the plants I have bought since my last video, which I think was back in January. I know I did do a trip to the Columbia Road London market. In this video, I'm going to be showing you all the plants that I have bought since then. Spoiler alert, here they are. They're already filling up the room. If you're a plant enthusiast like myself, just drop me a comment below. Tell me what plants you do have that I already have in my collection, and let's exchange plant tips. I do have a few questions as well that I'm still searching for the answers to, so if you know them, please help a sister out. Let's get straight into this video. The first plant I'm going to show you does not have a plant pot, and so it's not on display. It just has a regular nursery pot. I bought this plant in the Columbia Road London market, and actually I take that back, I didn't buy it, my friend bought it for me. I went with my friend Howard and she bought me this lovely Calathia plant. It's Calathia pinstripe. You can see the details on the leaves. It's a little bit dry and in need of a little bit of water, and so yeah, don't watch that. But this is now my second, I have 3, but this is my second Calathia in my collection. Nowhere near as dramatic as my first Calathia, which I call Esmeralda. She is a Calathia medallion, huge sprawling leaves. If you haven't already, I'm going to link the video up here or this side. I can't really remember which side it goes on. Watch my first video where I show you Esmeralda, my dramatic Calathia. This is a lot less maintenance. She does need a bit of watering, and she's burnt a little bit around the edges, as you can see there, because it is summertime and so the heat is doing what it does. But all in all, she's really pretty. Generally, all my plants are she's, unless I say otherwise. I've stopped naming my plants because there's so many of them and I don't really have time to remember all the names. Yeah, that is my first new purchase. Now, where I need you guys' advice, especially if you are a plant connoisseur, if you've got green fingers, I am experiencing an infestation of Fungusgnats. That sounds a lot worse than it is. I'll explain. So Fungusgnats are these super tiny little annoying as hell flies that will lay their eggs, and they love the moisture and all the nutrients that are found in houseplants. Some plants more than others. Now, given that it's summertime, you water your plants a lot more often because it's hot, the soil is drying out, but this makes it perfect for these fungus gnats to keep breeding and living in your plants. They don't actually damage the plants, but they're a nuisance because they fly around, they die really quickly as well, and strangely they gravitate towards windows. So after a while, if you look down by the windows, you'll just see lots of little dead teeny tiny flies. They are driving my husband absolutely insane. They annoy me as well, and I have a majority of my plants in my office, so they're always kind of getting in my way. And if I'm on a Teams call or something, you just see this tiny fly that I'm swatting away and I look like I live in a dirty house. It's really not the case. It's just my house plants attract some of these flies, and the plants that like being watered more often obviously attract more of the fungus gnats because they're able to live there and get adequate supply of water. So I say all of that to say that is one of the reasons why I kind of been put off from watering some of my plants. So the Calathias, they do like a good water, and as you saw just now, that one's curling a little bit on itself, which is a signification that it needs to be watered. But I'm like, I either water you and get all these stupid little flies, or I don't water you and you begin to die. There are some workarounds. I have tried spraying neem oil in the soil. I have put those sticky yellow things that are basically like scarecrows but for flies. So they're like sticky traps you put in your plant soil and the flies fly towards it and get stuck and then die. I've actually literally just seen one fly past. But it's not working. So guys, if you have any other remedies, do let me know. Let's continue with the video. Number 2 plant I also got from the Columbia Road Flower Market is this gorgeous Dracaena. If you watched my last video, you will also notice that this pot used to belong to a different plant. That plant is sadly no more. I had an Areca palm, which I just didn't know how to look after, and unfortunately it was just getting crispier and crispier, so I ended up having to throw it away, unfortunately. But this beautiful Dracaena lives in this red massive pot that I bought from a nursery, and look at how gorgeous it is. Look at that. The greens are so gorgeous, the yellows, it's just so lovely. I love the stem and how like it kind of reminds me of a bamboo plant. It is extremely heavy. This pot is really heavy, the plant is heavy. She's also a very low maintenance gal. I tend to leave her upstairs in this studio because she doesn't really require much looking after, and sometimes I forget her here. I come back, she's doing just fine. She doesn't burn very easily and she doesn't require that much water. If you're looking for a low maintenance plant, I would highly recommend you getting a Dracaena, which is this kind of plant. There are different kinds of varieties of Dracaenas. This is the only one that I currently have. And I wasn't even really looking for one when I bought it. I just happened to stumble upon one that was being sold at the market. They were getting rid of it for £20. And given how big this plant is, £20 is an absolute steal. I just had to have her. I brought her home, and now she lives with me. And she makes for a really nice exotic background as well. I tend to have her on this stool in the background of my videos, so it just gives a nice little exotic vibe. You would have noticed these 2 colorful, beautiful plants in my background. These plants are called Crotons. I had no idea what they were when I bought them. I just saw them and I was like, oh my god, I gotta have them. So, little backstory. Got back from Bali Monday morning and I just had a few errands to run. I had the rest of the day off, so I went into M&S. I don't even know what took me there. I was probably there to buy some groceries, and I saw these plants. They didn't come with the pots. They just came in their normal nursery pots, and they were selling them for £6 each. I was like, oh my gosh, I definitely have to have at least one. And I was just umming and ahhing, not really sure which one to go for. This one has a lot more green on it and some reds, whereas this one is a lot more yellow. And I just really liked the 2 of them. And I thought, well, they're only £6. They're only £6. So I bought both of them and brought them home, and they make such a gorgeous background in my office. They have amazing color. I think I was just really reminiscent of my time in Bali. Bali has so much luscious greenery, luscious plants. I don't know if it's because I'm in my plant era, if you want to call it that I really appreciated the greenery in Bali. But everywhere you turn, there are luscious exotic plants. So when I got back and I saw these in the store, I just absolutely had to have them. They are called Crotons. They love the light. They're not too fussy at all. When they are getting a bit dry and need a bit of water, I can easily tell because the leaves do start to droop a little bit. I'm gonna put one down because they're quite heavy having both. I've noticed, especially with the one that I put down, if it's time for water and I haven't watered it, you see how upright these leaves are? They begin to droop a little bit. They just begin to turn down, and that's when I know that actually baby girl is thirsty. But give her a little bit of water and she's perky once more. How stunning. Oh, beautiful. Look at the reds. Gorgeous Crotons. Speaking of M&S, here are 2 more plants that I bought actually most recently from M&S. They're both Peperomia. This is a Peperomia caprata and this is a Peperomia obtusefolia, also known as a baby rubber plant. I'm gonna take one at a time, so let's start with the caprata. I probably should take these tags off, but you can see I got it for £12. It came with the pot in M&S. It looks like velvet cushions. They are actually quite squishy to touch. They are very interesting. They are native to Brazil. As you can see, the underside is red, while the top side is a grayish color. They do well in medium to bright lights, At the moment, I think I need to give this plant a bit more light and a bit more water, but generally they're quite low maintenance and I think they look really, really unique. It's not the kind of houseplant I've seen quite regularly in other people's homes, and so I just had to have it. They also have this weird flowering thing. It's like, I'm trying to find you a good angle. There, that little thing here, this sticky outy thing, is actually their way of flowering. So you'll see a few spikes. There's that one there, not that you can see right now, but there's a few spikes that will grow in the summertime, and that's their way of flowering. But generally, they're quite a unique and funky looking plant. Like I said, I haven't seen other people with this kind of Peperomia, and so I just wanted to add it to my collection as something a little bit different. Now back to my Peperomia obtusefolia, which is a bit of a mouthful, but this is also known as the baby rubber leaf. Again, I got this in M&S as I mentioned. It was also £12. I bought it at the same time I bought the last one, and it just looks so interesting to me. The stems grow purple. Let me find you a good one. There. They grow a purpley color, and it just feels like a nice chunky leaf. It's a great contrast to the rest of the plant. I like seeing contrasting stems in plants. I also love seeing contrasting leaves, which is one of the reasons why I got that gorgeous devil's ivy up there, but I'll come to that in a moment. This is fast becoming one of my favorite Calathia plants. No offense to Esmeralda, but this is a Calathia orbifolia. Let me check. It's orbifolia. I was right. So it's a Calathia orbifolia, and look at the beautiful markings on the leaves. Gorgeous. I have a new leaf here that is still unfurling, which is why it's a bit droopy. I've got another new leaf up here that is yet to unfurl properly. I've got one that is still very tightly coiled that will come out when it's ready. It is such a leafy and gorgeous plant. I don't know why I didn't go for this in the first place. It's a low maintenance plant. I don't think anything can be quite as high maintenance as the Calathia medallion. Well, that and the peace lily. Both of them are the kind of plants you have when maybe you want to devote all your time and attention to them. They will scream from the high heavens if they're not watered on time, if they're not watered adequately, and they attract a gazillion Fungusgnats. So it is so refreshing to have other Calathia that, you know, are still gorgeous but do not require so much effort. I love the stripy detail. I love the fact that the leaves just kind of flop on top of one another. I have noticed, unfortunately, that some of my new leaves are dying because they're not getting adequate sunlight. Because these just drape over, the baby ones that are coming underneath, like that one you can see is crispy because it's had next to no sunlight. There's another one behind there. So I don't know what the workaround is with this. I don't know if I should repot it. I don't think it needs repotting. It's not root bound. I might leave it until next spring. Next, I have this Citrus fern that I also bought from Aldi. This was $6.99. The tag is still on there. I've had this for months now, so I should really get rid of this little stumpy bit. As you can see, I tend to be a bit lazy with the tags. This Citrus fern, unfortunately, is looking a little bit sad. It does need a water. Usually the leaves are a bit more upright, but I can see that they are leaning with it, rocking with it, and not in a good way, so I will give her a bit of water. This plant I bought because it just looked weird. It looked awkward. The leaves are really light and fluffy and droopy. Even when they're upright, they kind of just remind me of, I don't know, willow trees or whatever. They're just so dainty. The stems are really fine as well, and they just looked a bit unusual. So I bought it, and it was only $6.99, and it came with a pot. So I thought, you know, why not? I don't know if it's a creeping plant. I don't think it is. I think I just need to water it and everything will come back to life. And it came with this really cute pink pot as well. So yeah, that is my Citrus fern. Now, last but not least, by any stretch of the imagination, I am showing you my favorite plant so far. My favorite plant of batch 2. Batch 1, I think my favorite plant is probably Esmeralda, my Calathia medallion. Look at the marbles, look at the marbles. Marbling is basically the mixture of the colors, the light bits, the dark bits, the white bits. It is beautiful, 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 beautiful. I got this from the Columbia Road Flower Market on a whim. whenever I go there with specific things in mind, I very rarely come back with that specific item. Apart from the first time when I went and I got the white bird of paradise, I have never particularly liked or cared for a creeping plant. I always stay away from creeping plants because I think it's weird. Why is a plant growing downwards and like it just feels like it's coming to get me? But there was something about this devil's ivy that I just had to have. It's so beautiful. It just lights up the room. I keep it in my bathroom, the guest bathroom downstairs in my house, and I think it's a beautiful, beautiful work of art. I love the variegation. Well, I don't know if you can call it variegations, but yeah, I love that they're variegated leaves, and it just beautiful pop of color in my bathroom. Will I be buying any more creeping plants? Who knows? Never say never. The fact that I even have this is a testimony that, you know, anyone can change their mind at any point. I'm really looking forward to it growing really long and just kind of creeping everywhere, even though I just said that I find that really weird. But whenever I go there and I see that it's growing a bit more, or it's got another new nodule or node, it makes me so happy. They're usually quite easy plants, but I did notice that when I hadn't watered it for a while, it did start to droop. So even though this bit is eventually gonna creep downwards, I noticed that when I hadn't watered it, it was really floppy, and just gave it a quick shower and everything perked up again. Well, that brings us to the end of this video. I hope you have enjoyed looking at my new plants, their little anecdotes, and like I said, if you have a remedy for getting rid of those damn Fungusgnats, please let me know. It is driving my husband crazy, and I don't want to come home one day and he's chucked all my plants in the bin. He really wouldn't, but you never know. If you've enjoyed this video, please don't forget to subscribe, like it, comment down below what plants you have, what plants you're looking to get, and the tips, like I said, if you can help us out. And see you in my next one. Bye!